Hello there, and welcome to the first installation of 10110. Today, we are going to be looking at Littlewood and how I felt playing the game after 10 minutes, 1 hour, and 10 hours. This review is subjective to my experience, but it should give you some information on whether this game is for you. I won't be rating it on a scale, but I'll definitely talk about what I liked about the game and what I didn't like. So, without further ado, let's get on with the review. Littlewood is a cozy pixel city builder sandbox life sim type game made by SmashGames and released in 2020. I had previously played the early access of the game and decided to play it again now after it's fully released. You can farm, fish, catch bugs, mine, chop wood, cook, and decorate your town as you see fit. There's no standard time format like other games, and time only progresses when you do an action. Eventually, the day ends after you use up all your stamina. In Littlewood, you are the hero of Solemn after defeating the Dark Wizard, and now you're settling down and making a life for yourself and your adventuring friends in your very own town. You have amnesia, as every great hero does, and don't remember what happened before you defeated the Dark Wizard, but you can glimpse little parts of your life from the dialogue that the town folks provide and other people in Solemn who know you. So, with that knowledge, let's talk about the experience. In the 10 minutes that I've played, I was able to create my character and move a few things around the town. Tutorials come in the form of text on screen that you read so you can hit the ground running without any restrictive hand holding. I was really impressed with how easy it was to move things around. You can terraform, move buildings, and lay down paths with no issues. If there are things such as weeds or bugs in the way, you can simply just move them to another location while you build without having to exit the building menu. The 10 minutes went by super fast while I was figuring out where to put new buildings, so the game does a good job of hooking you right away. The controls were just a little hard for me to figure out because I wasn't used to them, even though they totally told me all of the controls when you start up the game. It did take me more than 10 minutes to really familiarize myself with the controls, but after I got the hang of it, everything was great and I didn't have any other problems moving forward. In the hour that I played, I spent about 40 minutes of it just rearranging my town around and gathering materials so I can build more things. It felt so satisfying to just drag something to another spot. If I change my mind, you get all of your materials back, so it's not like you're being punished for moving things. In fact, you're encouraged to move things around, as sometimes the townsfolk will have requirements on what buildings they want to be closer to or away from. You're also introduced to the gameplay loop during this time, and essentially you unlock buildings through talking to the townsfolk and other people in Solemn, such as their houses if they want to move in, or the marketplace or the museum. These buildings can help you make more dewdrops, the currency of the world, i.e., the tavern, the marketplace. They might sell you things, such as the general store or the decor store, and they can help you process your materials, such as when you chop down trees, you can go to the lumber mill and make it into wooden planks. In order to make these buildings, you have to gather materials out in the endless forests or the dust caverns. You can also gather materials in your town, depending on what you choose to have available. For instance, if you make a lake, fish will spawn, or if you plant a fruit tree, you can harvest the fruit that you planted whenever it is ripe. Each building, besides the houses, can be upgraded by either donating dewdrops or the materials needed, depending on whatever the condition is. The upgrades can unlock things specific to the building, such as increasing the chance you get a bonus material for processing them or unlocking new items to sell. Slowly, your town grows a bit more and you're able to access new places in the world, gather rare materials, donate unique items to the museum, build those relationships up, decorate everyone's houses, and ultimately make your town what you want it to be. All the meanwhile, you can just rearrange things again if you don't like the layout or if you want to put a statue somewhere that you have no space for. Again, it's really easy to just change everything up. I think the gameplay loop can be very satisfying as you plan out what you want to do, whether you want to go collect materials one day, stay in town and process your ore, fish, farm, or a combination of everything. You'll find very early on that Littlewood gives you the ability to do whatever you want without the restriction of time, since time only really moves when you do an action. If you wanted to just leave your game running the entire time while you grab something to eat, it will still be the same quote unquote time that you left it. I also appreciate that you get a little report of all the skills and relationship that increase after your day is over, with the most satisfying sound effects whenever something levels up. After 10 hours of playing, I think that I mainly got through most of what the game had to offer. I went through a whole year in a summer, about 157 days, recruited about 12 people to live in my town, and maxed out most of the upgrades that I could for different buildings. The only thing that I was not really able to do that I wanted to was get married, since the wedding ring is really expensive and you have to unlock a whole building for it. And I was also just constantly spending money on furniture and other upgrades. Overall, here's what I liked about the game. One, it has quick gameplay with nice quality of life features, such as the ability to teleport to your house or town from anywhere you are in the world. If you're in the endless forest and you've run out of stamina, or you just want to go back to town for any reason, you can just go into the menu and click return home or return back to town. You don't have to walk back to the air balloon. You don't have to go all the way across town to get to your bed. Two, the controls are super simple. You don't have to change tools and you can just go and go up to a tree or fish and the game will change your tool accordingly. You also get upgrades for your tool after increasing their skill level up, so that really incentivizes you to continue leveling up that skill as well. Three, there are tons of townsfolk and they are super endearing. Sometimes you get cutscenes of them talking to each other, and it just makes the world feel a little bit more alive. And if you collect a lot of them, then you really feel that your town is flourishing because you can walk around and just see them hanging out. These are some of the things I wish I knew sooner and only found out after several hours of playing. So I didn't check the options, but you actually do have the ability to toggle sprint on and off, which was helpful for me to not have to hold down shift the entire time because I was just constantly running everywhere and running doesn't take any stamina. Also, town wishes are permanent upgrades if you buy them. For some reason, I thought they were time limited, so I didn't invest in them until way later in the game. And I was stuck for hours wondering when I was going to get more farm plots or more abilities to place decorations in my town. And I was on like hour 6 or 7 until I finally found out that I should have been upgrading my town. Finally, here are some things that I wish were different. The townfolk can feel very cliche and usually have dialogue related to their specific stereotypes. For example, the wizard Lilith is seen as a danger to others and she can't really control her magic. So most of her dialogue is about how no one wants to sit with her because they're scared of her, or she's holding back destruction, or she's gonna, burn down the place because a bug landed on her. There's also like a fashionable bird called Bubsy, and he's very vain and likes cooking, so most of his dialogue revolves around that. Dialogue can get very repetitive if you play for many days at a time, and definitely at the 10-hour mark, you feel a lot of that repetition. Some of the dialogue does change when there are events in town, or if you're lucky enough to get a dialogue event between the villagers. But overall, I think it would be nice to just have a little bit more variety for the day to day interactions. Although I really liked my time with Littlewood after 10 hours, I'm not sure whether or not I will continue to play. Even though there's still a whole area that I haven't unlocked yet, and the fact that I wasn't able to get married, buy a pet, or complete the museum, I found myself getting bored of the game around the 7 hour mark and only continued to fully complete the review. The grind is simple, which really works for it in the beginning, but it definitely can get repetitive after you've been playing for a while. Littlewood is great if you're in it for a fun time, but not a long time. Well, there you have it. If you think that this game is for you, I hope that you give it a try. It is a really fun game, and I really love the simplicity of the town building. So, until next time, I'm Nessa, and this has been 10110.